He thought he was doing the right thing. He thought if he showed the court he was reasonable, cooperative, willing to pay, willing to leave, willing to compromise, then everything would work out. But divorce doesn't reward good intentions. Divorce rewrites them into weapons. What looks like cooperation is twisted into evidence. What looks like responsibility becomes proof that you can give more. And by the time you realize it, the damage is permanent. This is the story of how divorce doesn't destroy fathers overnight. It destroys them stage by stage, money stage by money stage, quietly dismantling their rights while they still believe they are doing the honorable thing. And if you are a father facing divorce, listen carefully, because if you don't know these stages, you will walk into them blind. And once you step in, there is no stepping back. Subscribe now, because this channel is the only place exposing the traps that are waiting for you. And leave a comment if you've seen money and custody slip away, stage by stage. Your story may save another man's rights. Stage 1. Voluntary payments. John thought it would help. His wife moved into the guest room. The divorce papers were coming, and the tension in the house was unbearable. She asked him to cover all the bills while things settled down. He agreed. Mortgage, groceries, utilities, he paid everything, telling himself it was temporary. He believed he was showing responsibility, proving he was a good father, a good man. But in divorce court, voluntary payments aren't seen as kindness. They are seen as ability. The judge doesn't hear, "I paid to keep the peace." The judge hears, "He can afford this level of support." And what began as voluntary becomes permanent. The baseline is set. From that moment forward, every payment John made became proof against him. He had created a pattern, and in family law, patterns turn into obligations. Stage 2. Moving out. Mark couldn't take the arguments anymore. His lawyer even said, "If you move out, it will reduce the tension. The court won't hold it against you." So he packed his bags, kissed his children goodnight, and rented a small apartment nearby. He thought it was temporary. He thought it was respectful. But when the custody battle began, the decision was twisted. On paper, he had abandoned the home, and the parent who stays in the home is seen as the stable one, the provider of consistency. Judges like stability. They like continuity. And by leaving, Mark gave his wife the narrative. She was the anchor, he was the visitor. Suddenly, the years of mortgage payments, the repairs, the sacrifices meant nothing. What mattered was who stayed. When the judge asked, "If you no longer live in the home, why do you believe custody should remain equal?" Mark felt the trap snap shut. He hadn't abandoned his children, he hadn't abandoned his home, but legally, it looked exactly like that. Stage 3. Temporary support orders. Temporary is supposed to mean short-term, a bridge until the divorce is final. But in reality, temporary becomes permanent. Once a number is set, once a father begins paying, it's incredibly difficult to lower it. The court sees consistency as ability. If you've been paying $2,000 a month in temporary support, why can't you keep paying it after the divorce? John found himself trapped. He had agreed to a temporary order to prove his good faith. His lawyer told him it was just for a few months. But a few months became a year, then longer. And the final order looked almost identical to the temporary one. His income hadn't increased. His expenses had doubled. He was paying for his apartment and for the family home. But the court didn't care. The court cared only about the pattern. He had managed to pay, therefore, he could continue to pay. That's how the money stages work. They look harmless. They look reasonable. They look like steps you should take to keep the peace, to protect your children, to prove your character. But each one becomes a weapon, sharpened and aimed at you. And the cruelest part? They build on each other. First, you pay voluntarily. Then you move out. Then the temporary order cements the pattern. By the time you realize what's happening, 3 stages have already stripped away your leverage, and the next stages are waiting to finish the job. In the courtroom, John sat frozen as his wife's attorney laid out the story. He paid all the bills voluntarily, he left the home, he agreed to a support order. Clearly, he is the financial provider. Clearly, she is the stable parent. Clearly, custody should follow her, and support should continue at this level. The judge nodded, and in that moment, John understood. Every step he thought would protect his family had quietly destroyed his rights. But this was only the beginning, because stage 4 was waiting. And it wasn't about money on paper. It was about something far more powerful: time. The more time his children spent with their mother, the less time the court believed he deserved. And the less time he had, the more money he would be ordered to pay. Stage 4 was the pivot point, the one that would decide not just his finances, but his fatherhood. And John was already walking straight into it. John thought he had already lost enough. Voluntary payments had been turned into obligations. Moving out had been twisted into abandonment. Temporary support orders had become permanent patterns. He didn't realize that the real destruction was only halfway through. Because divorce doesn't take everything from a father at once. It chips away, stage by stage, until there is nothing left to protect. Stage 4. Unequal custody time. On paper, John still believed he was fighting for shared custody. He picked up his children every weekend, took them to school when he could, tried to stay involved. But the court didn't count effort. It counted hours. And every hour the children spent with her became leverage. When she kept them longer because they were sick, those hours counted. When she claimed weekends for family events, those hours counted too. The result was devastating. With each passing month, the official record showed that the children spent more time with her. And in family law, time equals money. The less time a father has, the more child support he pays. Custody isn't just about parenting, it's about financial weight. And every missed bedtime turned into another dollar owed. Stage 5. Property division. John believed the house would be split fairly. He had paid the mortgage for years, repaired the roof, renovated the kitchen with his own hands, but when he left, his wife stayed. And in the eyes of the court, she provided stability. Stability is a powerful word in divorce. It justifies almost anything. And in John's case, it justified awarding the home to her. He didn't just lose the property, he lost the equity he had built, the years of investment, the proof of his labor. The law said he would be compensated elsewhere, but that elsewhere vanished into numbers on a page, swallowed by support payments and legal fees. The home, his anchor, was gone. Stage 6. Attorney's fees. As if it wasn't enough, the court ordered John to pay part of her legal fees. The reasoning was simple. He earned more, so he could contribute. Never mind that he was already drowning in bills for 2 households. Never mind that he was already paying support. Divorce court doesn't care about fairness. It cares about formulas. And in that formula, he was the provider. So his wife's lawyer sent him bills, and he paid for the person trying to destroy him. Stage 7. Lifetime obligations. This was the stage that broke him. The final clause buried in the judgment. Spousal support would continue indefinitely, unless she remarried. But remarriage was a distant possibility, and she had no reason to change that. Even retirement wasn't protection. The order stated that obligations would be reviewed if his income dropped, but no guarantees were made. John's future wasn't his, it was chained to her. Every promotion, every raise, every year of work, all of it flowed back into the system that had already taken everything else. When he read the final order, John felt hollow. He thought back to the beginning, to the first stage when he believed paying voluntarily was the right thing to do. He thought of the night he moved into the apartment, telling himself it was temporary. He thought of the hearings, the orders, the hours of lost time with his children. Each stage had seemed harmless, even noble, but together they had quietly destroyed his rights. And that's how divorce works for fathers.
It doesn't break you with one blow. It bleeds you slowly, stage by stage, voluntary payments, moving out, temporary orders, unequal custody time, property division, attorney's fees, lifetime obligations. 7 steps that look like fairness, but each one is a trap. The system counts on silence. It counts on exhaustion. It counts on fathers walking into each stage thinking they are doing the right thing. And by the time you see the pattern owns you. But John's story doesn't have to be yours. If you are a father facing divorce, listen carefully. Don't volunteer payments without legal protection. Don't move out until the court orders it. Don't accept temporary orders as harmless. Don't let unequal custody time pile up. Don't assume the house will be divided fairly. Don't forget attorney's fees can be weaponized. And don't believe that support ends when you think it should. Because the truth is brutal. The divorce system isn't designed to protect you. It's designed to strip you, stage by stage, until there is nothing left. But knowledge is power. And that's why this channel exists. To expose the traps, to break the silence, to give fathers a fighting chance. So subscribe now, share this video with anyone who might be facing divorce, and leave a comment if you've seen these stages in your own life. Your story might be the warning another father needs to hear before it's too late. Remember John. Remember how each stage seemed harmless, even noble. Remember how each step became evidence against him. And remember this, the system doesn't take everything at once. It takes it slowly, stage by stage, while you still believe you're doing the right thing. Don't let it happen to you. Don't let the stages destroy your rights. And above all, don't stay silent.